Good evening, everybody. Chef Marshall O'Brien here. Welcome to Cooking with Confidence. We're having a technical issue, and I have no idea if it's a problem. Maybe it's not. But anyways, okay. Well, hey, everybody, so glad that you made it tonight. Before we get into the meat of tonight's show, we put this show together for 4 reasons. Number one, we want to make sure that you have a positive experience at least one night a week. We can all use more positivity in our life, and so that's definitely what we're doing. We want to make sure that you can help improve your skills in the kitchen. Also, we want to help you take a little stress out of your life, providing some meal planning support. And finally, we want to help nourish you and not just feed you. So that's what the show is all about. Please, folks, make sure that you're following us on Facebook. Make sure you're following us on Instagram, Chef Marshall O'Brien. Also, if you are wondering, hey, I want to watch this, I want to do this with you in real time because we're live right now, but you don't have the recipe and shopping list, sign up at chefmarshallobrien.com/show so you can get those in advance. We send out the recipe shopping list Saturdays, and we do it again Tuesday nights. Getting smarter every week on this. But we want to make sure that you can have fun with us so you can do this. We've got a lot of people, it's been awesome. People are participating, submitting their recipes in the comments, their pictures and stuff. Speaking of which, we want to do shout out for last week because I didn't get to do it. So let's just take a little review. A few weeks ago, Amy Varab has chicken enchiladas from a couple episodes ago. Excellent chicken enchiladas. Love it, Amy. That's awesome. We have Cindy says that we used black Angus steak and beef steak instead, and beef stock instead of chicken. The sweet potatoes were white, but we loved the stew. Was the best stew we've ever had. This is the whole point of the show, ladies and gentlemen, is to give you a chance to be flexible, try new things. Maybe you got the wrong ingredient, or maybe you forgot to buy it. Point is, this is what it's all about, helping you have fun in the kitchen and making great tasting foods that'll work for you. Love it. That's great. Super, super happy that you did that. And, Jackie's got one here. It says, it was great. Sadly, this was the best photo I can provide. Well, I'm glad that you had fun. And folks, don't forget, after you take a picture of the recipe tonight, don't forget to take a picture of the recipe after you cook it. Not after you eat it, because there won't be anything to show you. But then you can submit it, and that's the whole point. We're going to answer your questions in real time. I got Miss Jonna, my right-hand gal. She's awesome. This show would not rock if it wasn't for her support. And so you're going to put your questions in the chat. A lot of you are already doing that. And then she's going to relay it out and all that stuff. Again, if you want to do this and you're not doing it real time, go to you can always watch the reruns. Chef Marshall O'Brien's Cooking with Confidence on our YouTube channel. So definitely check that out. Okay. For tonight's recipe, we have a super awesome one. This is a balsamic chicken stir-fry. This is becoming a fan favorite. People are excited. Great recipe. It's going to look like there's a lot of ingredients, and there kind of is, but it's actually really easy, and it's a lot of common ingredients, and that's what we always focus on, our commonly used ingredients. So let's dig in. What do we have here? We have some balsamic vinegar, honey, chicken, cornstarch, olive oil, salt and pepper, some red onions, some garlic, little zucchini, yellow squash, red bell peppers, a little dried basil, water, and some lime juice. That is easy. And this is a fun, easy recipe. I like to put my recipes together for you with options to divert or maybe modify how you do it, because at the end of the day, the tools and the way you have your kitchen set up might be different from mine, and so I am not militant. So that's a great tip. It's just like, be flexible when you make your recipes. You will find out tonight when we're doing this in just a second that I have it designed so you can have some flexibility, and then that way it'll help you make it a success. Can't wait for you to try it. First things first, what we need to do, make sure you have your tools, your equipment. You got your pan so we can do our stir fry. We talked last week about doing a big stir fry pan, which I have, but not a lot of people do. So I wanted to make this a little more realistic. Make sure you get your knives, cutting boards, things like that. This recipe, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to toss first we can cut the chicken up, or you've already done it. But we're going to cut the chicken, and then we're going to toss it with some cornstarch to help create some of the browning, and also down the road when this dish is being finished, it's going to help create a little thickness from the sauce. We're going to use that cornstarch like that. Now, a couple of things that I want you to keep in mind is I love making things like making things as easy as possible so you can prep once and cook many times. A lot of you have heard me talk about, why don't you prep more chicken? Let's say you're going to do some kind of stew, or you have another type of dish you're going to do. So get your chicken ready for that so it's all set when you do that other dish. Prep once, eat many times. How do you make life easier for you? Questions, comments, thoughts?
Steve is live in cooking.
Awesome, Steve. Great to have you here.
My mom.
Rosie, a.k.a. my mom. Awesome to have you here. We got smiles. Everybody's here. That's great. Oh. All right, I'm using boneless, skinless chicken breast. That's easy to use, super versatile. I don't need to get into all the differences with chicken. If you want to use boneless, skinless chicken thighs, it's going to have a little more, a little richer flavor, and certainly that's going to be just fine to use. Now here's a tip that I want you to think about. For this recipe, when you're doing the cornstarch and the chicken, if you're really skilled, you could just put the cornstarch right here and like mush it around and all that. If you are not really, when I say really skilled, I mean like skilled at not making a mess. I should have prefaced that a little bit. Because what I like to do is actually do it on the cutting board, and then I just swap out the cutting board. Now just to make it super simple, I'm going to do it right here, and I'm going to put it all in here, and then I am going to put this right on top because I will eventually take all of that away. We're going to take our chicken. We're going to take our cornstarch, folks. The cornstarch, again, is going to help with the browning and help make the sauce to make it thick. But you're just going to mix it up really easy. Don't overcomplicate this, ladies and gentlemen. Questions, comments, thoughts? One thing that I have for you, if you want to, go ahead if you want to interrupt me, but one thing that what you could do is if you want to use already cooked chicken for this recipe, you're going to modify you're going to modify your cooking times a little bit. That's totally fine. You could certainly do that. All right, this is awesome. That's all set. I'm going to turn on my pan. We're going to preheat it. Questions, comments, thoughts?
Jackie says,
yes.
So glad we're using balsamic and basil. Favorites.
Awesome. Yes. Great combinations. You're going to love how this turns out. We are live streaming right now on Facebook, obviously, and on YouTube. So for any of you that are watching YouTube, you got questions, comments, thoughts, you're getting the recipes. If you're not getting the recipes and you're like, hey, this looks kind of fun, go to chefmarshalobrien.com/show so that you can get the recipe shopping list in advance, and then you can be part of the fun. Because we're bringing this to you so that you can have fun in the kitchen, making great tasting and nourishing meals that will work for you, not against you, meaning they taste great, they're going to nourish your body, you're going to have some easy, yet one thing that you don't have to think about Thursday nights when it comes to your dinner, going to help take some of that stress out of that meal planning for you. So that's what we're doing. Now, I mentioned, for any of you that saw the little teaser that I did at the top of the hour, I mentioned a secret, I don't know what I said exactly, but it was a little secret thing about the recipe. This is an awesome recipe, and I'll tell you what it is right now. This is an awesome recipe because it can help support your digestive system. Now, why is that so significant, folks? Well, let me tell you, I'm gonna spare you the hardcore nutrition lesson, but I want you to understand that there are foods that can help support your immune system. There's foods that will actually suppress your immune system. Over 70% of your digestive system contains over 70% of your immune systems in your digestive tract, folks. So you want to make sure that you got the right kind of foods. Now, these foods like the zucchini, the summer squash, the bell peppers, the onions, they're rich in fiber. They're high in fiber, and that fiber is going to help create a really happy environment for good bacteria to thrive in your gut to help keep your immune system stronger, folks. So there you go. That's secret power that this recipe has. Now, I have a secret power that I can put my hand in a hot pan and not burn it, but it was a dumb joke. Okay. I'm just testing the pan, all right? And the pan is getting nice and warm, and you know it's warm. How, folks? John, you know this by now. How do I know the pan is hot? It's not a trick question. I should make it. Well, if you are sizzling, but you put oil, but you feel the heat radiating, okay? I do not suggest sticking your hand in there like I did. I've done it many times. I know how hot this can get and how hot it is right now. But you feel the heat radiating, and now you know you are ready to go. You can obviously put a little, do you feel that? Yeah, you could put a little bit of the oil in there, and you're going to see, or put all of it actually, and you could see how it will shimmer, okay? And it's not quite there yet. Oh, it's getting a little bit there. But when it's wavy, now we know that the heat is ready to go. I'm using olive oil, so I can't have it blazing hot because olive oil has a relatively low smoke point, so we're going to go medium, medium-high at the most. Otherwise, we're going to smoke it, and we don't want that. Questions, comments, thoughts? I'm excited to do this recipe for you. We're going to test the chicken. We want sizzle.
Nope.
We got no sizzle yet. So we're going to take that out. Now, why is this significant? Who is watching tonight? Teresa, Rosie, Steve. Who else is watching tonight? Why is it significant to have the sizzle? You want to start with that sizzle. Why does that matter? Okay, I'm going to let you figure that out. Okay, I'm just going to tell you. Is anyone saying it?
Nope.
Nope. All right. Well, we got that kind of audience tonight. That's all right.
Yep.
Okay.
They're feeling like how I'm feeling.
Are they feeling like how you're feeling? That's one of those. Oh, yeah. All right. Well, anyways, the reason why we want to make sure is that so
we
that.
have some comments.
Okay. What are the comments? Let's hear it.
Because if the pan isn't hot enough, the food cools it.
That's right. Okay. A couple things happen. If your pan's not hot enough and you put a bunch of food in there, the food's going to suck the heat out of the pan, number one. And number two, you're not going to get the color and the texture that you want when you don't have when you have properly heated pan. So good comment on that. We got a sizzle going on, and I'm going to just start adding more of these foods here, more of these chicken pieces, and it's going to continue to heat up. I'm making this a little tedious, but at the end of the day, as long as your pan's hot, you can just dump your chicken, your cornstarch chicken in here, and it's going to cook just fine. Boom. That's exactly what we want. I'm going to put these away. Thanks to TV Magic. That is set. And let's grab a new knife and a new cutting board. If you're at home, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't have knife and cutting board to switch out, make sure that you thoroughly wash with good soapy water so that you don't do cross-contamination. Couple things you can do, folks. Like I'm trying to show you the skills and the little techniques and all that, in real time while we're doing this. If you want to, we're going to season the chicken at this point with some salt and pepper here. And I'm going to also just get these onions cut up, and then we're going to add the onions. But if you want to have your vegetables all chopped, sliced in advance, cut in advance, I highly recommend that. I don't do it because I want to show you, I want to show you all the little, the techniques so you can keep practicing. But that is something, save time, get all the barriers out of the way. There you go. We got a nice little onion purse there. You got to like that, folks. All right. Now we are going to slice up our onions. If you want to do a different technique, that's fine, but I have this recipe for slicing the onions, just like as we're doing. And we want about a cup. I'm going to get more than a cup if I do this whole onion in there. So I'm going to do.
Okay, Laura says, watching from the car, even though I can't cook alone, I can learn.
Now that's commitment, Laura. I love that.
Be safe.
That's, whatever it takes. I love that. I think that's a first. We got to remember that. January 21st, 2021. We got someone watching from the car. That's impressive. Now, if you were
Eyes on the road.
Yeah, if you were, no driving. If you were cooking in the car too, that would be equally as impressive as well. We're adding our onions here, folks. Remember, little tips, keep your knife sharper longer. I flip the knife on the top so that when I scrape off the cutting board, as you saw, I keep my knife blade sharper longer. A sharp knife's a safe knife. It's really important that you keep that going. All right, questions, comments, thoughts. We've got
She's
good.
parked. She's not driving.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks for clarifying. We trusted you on that, but that's cool that you felt inclined to share.
Let's see.
We're
I
gonna
know Steve is cooking live. Who else is cooking live with us? Steve,
else
how's
is
it going? Are you chopped onions yet?
We're going to slice up our zucchini. A couple of things you got to think about. Zucchini yellow squash, they're like 100, not 100, but almost all water. They're going to cook fairly quickly. That's why we're going to do them, towards the end. We don't want to put them in right now. Otherwise, they're just going to be absolute mush, and that's not what we're looking for. So we're going to take those. We're going to have a couple cups of each, and I am probably a cup and a half right there. As you continue to prepare and slice and dice for yourself, you get pretty good at eyeballing how much you have. And I absolutely recommend, for those of you that are still getting comfortable with your measurements and quantities, to get out a measuring cup and measuring spoons and do that. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just getting a set. It's going to help build your confidence when you see that your eye measurements are correct. And if they're way off, well, it's just more practice. Nothing wrong with that. All right, we've got our nice hot pan sizzling here. Beautiful color in those onions. You notice I'm waiting on the garlic. I'm not adding the garlic yet because this chicken is going to take, 8 to 10 minutes, give or take, to cook thoroughly. And if I add the garlic now, I'm highly probable going to burn the garlic. And I don't want to burn the garlic and create that bitter taste. So that's why we're adding it towards, in the middle of the cooking, if you will.
Laura, you're asking, do you put the ends in there? Ends in
Nope, good question. Well, it kind of depends. You can see here, folks, that I have, some of these zucchini yellow squash ends, the texture might be a little fibrous. Those ones I probably would toss, and definitely the ends of the zucchini and the yellow squash there. That's pretty fun. I definitely don't use those. Again, it's tough, it's woody. It not going to have a nice, not going to feel good while you're chewing on it. Can you? Yes, but I don't. Now, one thing I want you to keep in mind, you're paying, unless you're growing all your own food, you're still paying for it, whether you grow it yourself with your time and energy or you're buying it at the grocery store. Point is, I try to use as much of the edible food as possible so that we're not wasting. I don't like food waste. It's okay not to eat all of your dish and then have it later as leftovers, but it's certainly, when possible, learn how to properly, efficiently cut them so you're not wasting all of that, all of that edible stuff. So it's something really I want you to keep in mind there. Questions, comments, thoughts? Stirring this up. We're getting some nice color on there. You can see that in the pan. That preheating is really important, and also the kind of pan that you use is important too. This is a heavy-bottomed anodized steel pan that's going to help create that nice caramelization of the chicken, and so I like using that. You can use a stainless steel pan, and I have aluminum stainless steel pans that work great as well. Sometimes the chicken will stick in there if you don't have enough fat, so you just, again, your equipment and your tools, and make sure that you feel comfortable using those equipments and tools. And that's why we're doing this show, is to help you work on your skills so you feel more comfortable and continue to get that experience so you can do this stuff and make it easy for yourself. Oh, one step that I did not start with, and that's okay, but you want to, which is you want to combine the balsamic vinegar and the honey. Jackie was saying she loves the combination of balsamic and basil. Well, we need to get this ready, and this is easy to do. All we're doing is we're going to mix the balsamic vinegar with the honey so that it stir it up so that it incorporates, just like that. Use a spoon, a fork, whatever. And then we're going to set that aside, and we'll bring it out later on in the adventure. Questions, comments, thoughts, concerns?
Cheryl is asking, is that all going to fit in the pan?
It will. That's a good question. Now, what we're going to do very soon is I'm actually going to remove the chicken from the pan, and you can do this. This is where there's some flexibility. If you've got a real big stir-fry wok, you can push the chicken and the onions, like that. Part the waves of the pan. I'm trying to be funny. When I try it doesn't work. But you can just move the chicken aside in the pan. But with this size, I'm just going to pour out the chicken, and then that way I've got a fresh, I got all this space. Not a fresh start, but we got all that space, and then you will see soon enough. All right, we're going to set that aside. We're going to continue on. This is looking really good. We're getting some nice color. We're going to continue on with actually I'm going to do one more piece of the zucchini here. I was mentioning about water content in zucchini. Your zucchini, because it's so much water, I would recommend doing this when possible with fresh, because the frozen zucchini, yellow squash, when it cooks, it's going to basically go to mush. It's already been altered through the freezing process, and I just think having it with having it fresh is just going to give you a better texture. So that's something to think about. I'm a big fan of frozen veggies. There's nothing wrong with using frozen veggies. I think in this instance, especially with the zucchini, do that if you can. Just peeling out the peppers here. Really make it simple. Simple. All I do is slice it, and then we're good to go. And now we're going to continue to slice. If your knife is sharp, this will be easy. My knife is pretty sharp, but the bell peppers are not as firm. And when they're not as firm, sometimes they smush, and it's harder to do. I'm going to pause myself, folks. Questions, comments, thoughts? We're going to take the chicken out. Oh, it's really important that I have hot pad so I don't burn myself, because that would be not so fun. But we're going to pour this, and just setting this aside now. Okay, everybody can kind of see what I'm doing. You know, again, back to the question about is it all going to fit in the pan? If you have a really big pan, you don't need to pull it out. But just to make it simple, I do that. Oh, we're going to add the garlic. Boy, you know, I'm going to pull this off the pan because I don't want it to burn. Now, I suppose at this point in the game, you could take your garlic and you could cook it with the vegetables. That would be absolutely okay. I got ahead of myself here, and that's just okay. You know, sometimes life happens and you just roll with it. I did my veggies first and didn't have my garlic ready to go, but I always like to show you. So there you go. That's kind of that. Now I got all this good stuff here. I'm going to mince up the garlic. I also have some garlic in the freezer. I like having things prepped in advance, so I'm actually going to pull some garlic out of the freezer and just show you how easy it can be then to save yourself a little bit of time. So let's add this into the pan.
While you're doing that, Tess has a question.
Yes, Tess, question.
Will the flavor be different if you were to caramelize onions separately, then add to the dish?
Yeah, you would. You'd probably get some more of the sugar out of the onions. I think that's a great idea. Certainly go for it. Definitely go for it. You could have caramelized onions done, like prepped ahead. So I'm throwing a little bit of frozen garlic here. I love doing this. I just think it's such a slick way. Now the garlic's going to cook really quick. There's high sugar content, naturally occurring sugar, no problem. It is going to, you gotta be careful so it doesn't burn, but it's gonna, it's gonna obviously soften up here. You know, garlic has a bunch, not just making your food taste great and smelling great, but garlic has a lot of medicinal benefits. And this is another one of those digestion superstars that I want you to think about because of the compound in there called allicin that gives it that pungent aroma. It has antimicrobial, antiviral, antibacterial benefits that can help support your gut. If your gut is rocking and rolling, you're going to be able to withstand all the bugs, the germs, all the funky things that are floating around, no matter the season, okay? So it's really important, A, your food's got to taste awesome, but you also want to have your food work for you and not against you. All right, now we're going to add the vegetables, and we're going to add in the dried basil as well. This is going to be good. We got the sizzle. Keep that sizzle going, folks. Okay.
Rosie,
yes,
aka Mom, is asking,
AKA Mom, yes.
do you add more oil?
I did not add any more oil. If you need to, certainly do that. I also like cooking with ghee. So you could add, if you wanted to add ghee, which is basically like a clarified butter. The milk solids have been removed out of that, so to prevent it from burning. And actually, people who have lactose sensitivities, some people can handle the ghee because it's a different composition than regular butter. So another little thing to think about. All right, we have our vegetables going here, and we're going to let them get bright in color. It's going to be, a minute to 2 minutes, but let those get bright in color. They're not going to be totally done, but they're going to get bright in color. Let's see. Yeah.
We have questions in regards to
Yes.
freezing garlic.
Yes.
I
have answers in regards to freezing garlic.
Okay. How do you freeze it?
How do you freeze? Well, is that a trick question? Okay.
No.
What I recommend doing,
How do you do it?
what I like to do, we've got this head of garlic here, and because I got so excited, caught up in doing the veggies, I forgot to do this. Well, what I do when I'm prepping, for example, when I'm prepping food, I'll peel a bunch of it. You can also buy, I've seen peeled garlic that you can get. Look, folks, I want to get all the barriers out of the way so you can make great tasting, nourishing foods for you and your family. Take the peeled garlic, chop it up. You can use a little food processor. I have one of those. I mean, if you want to do it all by hand, it's easy. But you take the chopped garlic, and then you just put it in your baggie. I label it just like I have here. This was the 15th. Okay, well, sorry, being directed to point right down right there. Boom, right? I labeled it, I dated it, and I just put it flat in the Ziploc bag. If you don't want to use plastic, no problem. Use ice cube. Maybe you have metal or silicone ice cube trays. You can put them right in there. You know, but that's how you do it. Just chop it up. Don't do it whole, because now you've got whole frozen garlic, and that's going to be putsy just because they're frozen chunks that you have to, you know, that you have to handle, right? All right, this is looking gorgeous. We got some nice color going. Questions, comments, thoughts? We got some great.
Ghee would add a lovely flavor. Yes. I agree.
What's that?
Mom says ghee would add a
Yes.
lovely flavor.
Yep, it'd be nice. That's easier to do the pan flip when you have a regular handle, but I want to just give it to you a little bit. There you go. Certainly use your utensil, use your hot pads. I don't know what I'm trying to say. All right, moving forward. I'm going to add a little bit of water now, and that water, you know, when we cooked the chicken with the cornstarch, seasoned it, right? We started building a little flavor in the pan, and depending on the kind of pan you have, this will respond a little, you know, it'll respond a little different. Like this one is really good at searing stuff and creating nice caramelization, and I'm going to put the water in to help then deglaze that pan, right? We want to deglaze it, which is all about pulling the flavors that have evolved on your pan and going to scrape the pan so you can get the flavors into the food and off of the pan, all right? That's the whole point of that, ladies and gentlemen.
Wendy says, smells so good in here.
Awesome. Love it. There we go. Got to get the smells. I wish I had smell-o-vision for you, because this is smelling pretty awesome.
Well, they're cooking.
What's that? Yes.
They're home.
Yes,
You don't
indeed.
need a smell-vision.
We
You
don't
need a
smell-o-vision.
smell-vision
You're
in your
making your own
webinars.
smell-o-vision. I like that. I don't know what you're saying back there, but they must be liking it. Send your pictures, folks. Yes, indeed. We're now going to add our chicken and the onions back into the pan. Okay? Folks, make sure, take a picture of what you prepared tonight. You can put it with a glass of wine and a candle and some napkins and placemats. Make it look pretty. Take a picture, put it in the comments, or you can send it to me via direct message, chat, messenger, however you like to communicate. But we love giving you the shout outs. You know, speaking of which, why don't we shout out last week's audience had some great recipes. We did the lemon Brussels sprouts, lemon fettuccine. And Amanda Buchanan says, we added chicken to ours, very tasty, would make it again. I love it. Add things, make it your own, keep rocking with it. Well done. Oh, beautiful presentation, Teresa. Love it. That looks fantastic. Keep it going. We've got BK says, holding the pasta overnight to make the recipe for lunch caused the red lentil rotini to crumble a little. Well, anything to please the hubby. You know, I admire you for trying that, and that's the whole point of this show, is to help you stretch, try new ways of preparing it. You know what? A for effort. Way to go. I commend you on that. Dominic, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful dish. That looks gorgeous. I like that pan too. Well done, my friend. And Sharon says, another great recipe. Thank you very much. You know what? That's every week we want to provide you awesome recipes. So please make sure you sign up, chefmarshallobrien.com/show. Also, if you want to get our Smart Nutrition cookbook and meal planner, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, it's going to help you take more control in your kitchen. And with these great tasty and nourishing meals, definitely check that out. Again, it's chefmarshallobrien.com/show to sign up, and Chef Marshall O'Brien to get the recipe, to get the recipes in advance. All right, this is looking really nice. We are going to add, remember, we added the balsamic vinegar honey combination. We're going to add that to the pan. Pour that in there. And then at the very end, we will add some lime juice. But you want to make sure you keep that sizzle going, because the flavors, I'm having a hard time with controlling my my spoon here, and the food's flying everywhere. Sorry about that.
That's not a good.
What's that? You're not a fan of that? I'm getting critiqued on my on my spoon selection. Thank you for your, I appreciate that. All right, folks, here, all jokes aside, it's really important now that we keep stirring this because the sauce is evaporating, the flavor's infusing. We've got tender, bright colored vegetables, tender crisp. This looks absolutely dynamite. I can turn off the heat now. I'm going to let that sit for a second. I'm going to add some fresh lime to this. And if you want to have some fresh squeezed lime in a citrus reamer in a jar in a container all ready to go in your fridge, go for it. But that just smells awesome. I love the color of that. We're going to add half a teaspoon, to your liking there. That's about it. Boom, it looks great. This just looks absolutely fabulous. It smells wonderful.
Tess says, amazing one pot meal.
Yes.
Cheryl says, my cats would eat the ones that fall on the floor.
You know what? You gotta love cats. Way to go, Cheryl. That's awesome. And I love the idea of doing one pan meals, one pot meals, one dish meals, because you can save yourself a lot of time and hassle with the cleanup. And tonight I prepped the chicken in the bowl with the cornstarch. Well, you could have just, if you're really comfortable with it, you could just easily work it right on that cutting board that you're going to toss in the dishwasher. Anyways, save yourself a bowl, have your ingredients prepped in advance. If you have a super big pan, like a big wok, you could just push the chicken to the side, saving another pan. Now, whatever it takes to help you get these delicious, tasty dishes, this is fantastic. Folks, make sure, sign up if you're watching right now and you want to cook with me in real time every Thursday, 5:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Get the recipe shopping list in advance. Next week we've got an awesome recipe. I'll tell you about it in just a second. But I want to make sure you can be a part of this. And if you can't do it live with us, you can do it on our YouTube channel, Chef Marshall's Cooking with Confidence. Go to the YouTube channel. We got all the episodes there, plus additional tips and tricks that you can grab, a couple second videos there, like all the past episodes. So get that, definitely. This looks dynamite. All right, I'm going to serve some of this up here. Questions, comments, thoughts before we head off to the next adventure. Folks, you know what? I so appreciate the opportunity to cook with you tonight. I hope you had a super fun time. Hope you got something valuable out of the show with the recipe, with the tips that I provided you. Hope you have a really tasty dinner.
Well, everybody
with
says
you and
smells
yours.
good, looks good, and they're eager to eat it.
Indeed. You know what? While you are cooking, while you're wrapping up, you should be wrapping up by now. While you are enjoying your meal, and tonight I am going to be serving up the Chef Marshall Show family here and giving them a great tasting dish as well. Folks, please make sure that you're following us on Facebook, Chef Marshall O'Brien. Make sure you're following us on Instagram at Chef Marshall O'Brien, and go to YouTube, Chef Marshall's Cooking with Confidence. So you want to watch the previous episodes, we're just going to keep putting them on there, and we're obviously streaming on YouTube as well. But the more of you, please do us a favor. Go to the YouTube channel, subscribe. The more subscribers we have, the more we get production capabilities unlocked so that we can bring you more value and fun and support, empowerment, education, and delicious food. That's what this show is all about. Speaking of all about next week, I'm really excited because we're going to do a zesty cilantro shrimp dish. Next week. That's next week. Zesty cilantro shrimp dish. It's going to be super good. All right, folks, this is all we got for tonight. I want to get your pictures. Take a picture, post it in the comments, send it to me so we can give you a shout out next week. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and we will see you next Thursday. Until then, have a great evening. Take care.